for joining us on the Person to Person Network. Welcome to Profiles in STEM. Our career series will feature an amazing STEM professional who is shaping lives and building the future. I'm your host, Katie Culbert, and if you haven't already done so, please leave a like and subscribe to our network. Joining me today, we have a very special guest, Dr. Cesar Rodriguez Saona. Dr. Rodriguez Saona is a professor in the Department of Entomology at Rutgers and heads the Entomology Research and Extension Program at the Rutgers Marucci Blueberry and Cranberry Research and Extension Center in Chatsworth, New Jersey. He received his master's from Oregon State University and his PhD from the University of California. Dr. Rodriguez Saona, welcome to our program. So, every career has a beginning. Can you pinpoint to us a particular moment when you decided to pursue a career in STEM, and even more specifically in entomology?
Uh, well, first of all, thank you for having me, Katie. This is a great honor to do this interview. Um, I started my interest in biology when I was in high school. So early on, I was interested in plants, animals, and actually, I wanted to pursue medicine at the time. Um, and so I applied for a university to get into medical school. I didn't get in, but as I mentioned, I was interested in biology. So I got in uh, this a university in Lima, Peru. It's called Universidad Nacional Agraria. It's a big agricultural university. It's very prestigious in the country. And I started my career in biology, actually. So I started as a biologist, um, and my first semester, I took a general biology course, and the professor that taught that course was is an entomologist. She already retired, but she uh, when I was taking the course, she asked me if I could work with her as an undergraduate, and that's how I started. I started working with her. Uh, at that time, there was a newly invasive pest in Lima, this whitefly that had invaded Lima, Peru at the time. It was attacking sweet potatoes, cotton, and other crops. So I started working on this pest. So I was interested in biological control. That was kind of my main interest. So looking at natural enemies of different pests, and after that, I came to the U.S. That was in '92 when I started to pursue my master's. That's when I started working in entomology. My master's was also done in biological control uh, with lady beetles, and then I did a PhD um, in at the University of Riverside, UC Riverside, as you mentioned, also in entomology. Then continue doing a few postdocs, one in Arizona at the University of Toronto, then Michigan State University, and then I landed my job here in 2005 at Rutgers University. So yeah, it has been a long journey, um, but um, but that's how I started. My early interest was in biology, and then I pursue entomology once I started my undergraduate degree.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that memory with us. I think it's kind of cool how where you were living at the time and a pest that was introduced to the area sort of helped push your interest in entomology a little bit. So, you are not only a full-time professor in the Department of Entomology, but also head of the Entomology Research and Extension Program. Can you describe what a typical day is like for you in both these roles?
Um, yeah, it's difficult to describe a typical day because uh, it changes day by day. My routine is not usually the same, and it's very different during the season compared to during the field season compared to the off season. during the academic year, this is like from September to May. We're in the off season of field season, so I do a lot of extension talks. Also, I do scientific talks. I present our work at different meetings. So I prepare for different meetings. Also, I'm very involved with in many scientific journals. I do a lot of uh, editing with for papers that are submitted to these journals. So a lot of my time, like I spend doing that work also. I have right now 6 students and 2 postdocs, so that takes a lot of my time. Also, I love mentoring students and early career professionals. So I like discussing with them their research, working with them on their projects, catching up on what they are doing. So on a daily basis, I usually contact them, or like a weekly basis, I contact them and try to see where they are at, what if they have any problems, if they want to discuss anything with me. Um, Also, I do a lot of writing. Um, that's part of my job, is to publish and also obtain grants. We need to develop a program. My program is in blueberry and cranberry entomology, as you mentioned, and we need to, for that purpose, I need to get funding to fund the students and postdocs, and also maintain my program. So a lot of my time is also dedicated to writing grants, writing reports. Um, as I mentioned, mentoring. Um, Also, I do some teaching during the off season. I'm teaching now insect ecology and evolution. Is one of the 3 professors that teach that course. So that course is offered in the spring semester. So that's something that I'm doing. I'm offering also a course for my students this semester. So I prepare for that. Also, I take a lot of time in at meetings. I'm very involved with my society, also with just being on different projects. You are constantly meeting with your colleagues, discussing future projects. Um, there's, I know this is a lot, but I also like during the season, it's a little bit different. During the season, like most of my students, or all my students, move to our research center, so to do their research. So I see them more often. I get to interact with them more often, and that's when they do most of their. They spend the time doing their research. So I tend to like meet with them also and talk to them about their projects during the field season. Um, Also, I my appointment is 70% extension, 30% research. So a lot of my work is to have a close communication with our growers, blueberry and cranberry growers. So we do a lot of meetings, in-person meetings throughout the year. Also, I write newsletter articles. So during the season, I spend time writing these articles. For example, like today, I woke up very early to write one of the articles for this week. I also help. I'm the liaison for the American Cranberry Grower Association. Um, so I attend their meetings. and I coordinate their meetings, their annual meetings. So there's 3 meetings that we have, and I'm in charge of coordinating, responsible for inviting the speakers, putting together the program, and running the meeting.
Well, it definitely sounds like you're a very busy person and always have a lot on your plate to juggle. Thanks for trying to describe what a typical day is like for you. You know, it obviously changes on a day-to-day basis. And thanks for giving us insight into the many different hats you wear and how it can change during the different seasons. So, also as an entomologist with research interests on applied chemical ecology, without getting too technical, can you give us a little bit more about what your research entails?
Uh, so early on, I was very interested in insect behavior. So that's kind of uh, has been my passion. Uh, I like watching how insects behave, and through my career, I started to work on insect communication and the chemicals that are responsible for uh, involved in insect communication. So these are called semiochemicals, and semiochemicals can be divided into chemicals that are involved in within species communication, which are pheromones. Um, Many of you might be familiar with sex pheromones, aggregation pheromones, trail pheromones, marking pheromones. So these chemicals are used by insects to communicate, um, uh, uh, are used by individuals within the species to communicate with each other. But also there's these uh, other chemicals called allelochemicals that are involved in between species communication. So uh, two different species uh, can communicate also through chemicals. For example, insects utilize uh, volatiles that are emitted by plants uh, in host location, mate location, uh, 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 to look for oviposition sites in the case of mated females. So we study those chemicals. We look at what are the chemicals that insects are using in communication between plants and herbivores, and also the natural enemies that attack those herbivores. Um, and we can use that, we can exploit these chemicals in pest management. We can develop more sustainable methods to control insects by utilizing and exploiting these compounds. For example, pheromones are widely used for, like especially sex pheromones are widely used for monitoring insects in the fields. So we can make synthetic versions of these compounds, uh, put them in a trap, and we can monitor and look at when the insects are active in the field. Uh, Also, we can use them to actually control the pest. One of the methods that is used is called mating disruption, where, as the name indicates, what we do is like to try to disrupt the mating. So we put large quantities of the pheromone, the sex pheromone, in the field, so the males get confused and cannot find the females. In this way, we can prevent females from mating, and thus we can reduce the level of damage that they can produce by reducing the level of egg laying. Um, we also have methods like attract and kill, where we use these compounds to attract the herbivores to a specific location, and we combine these attractants with an insecticide or a killing agent, and this way we can control the pest by just using very small amounts of an insecticide to control the pest. Also, there's a method called the push-pull, where that combines attractants and repellents. So you can use a repellent to push the pest away from the crop, and then you can use an attractant to pull them into an area where it's not going to cause any harm. And you can pull it into that area, and then you can use an insecticide and spray only that section of the farm to kill the pest. So that's what we do. That's what we're interested. Um, I'm very interested in what we call tritrophic interactions. So tritrophic interactions are the interactions between the plants, the herbivore, and the natural enemies of the herbivores. And we're looking at compounds that are also utilized not just by the herbivores themselves, but also by the natural enemies of the herbivores. So we can manipulate not just the herbivore, but also the beneficial insects.
Your research sounds very cool and interesting and is obviously extremely important, especially for agriculture. I think here in New Jersey, we have almost 10,000 farms, and we rank fifth in blueberry production and third in cranberry production. So I can definitely see how your work can be implemented to help us here in New Jersey and even beyond. Dr. Rodriguez Saona, you're also very busy as the head of entomology research, and you've been an author on over 250 publications as well as 400 presentations. In addition to your involvement as vice president for the plant insect ecosystems section for the Entomological Society of America and served as president for the ESA Eastern branch, can you tell our viewers why it's so important to always be involved?
I think it's very important for students, early career professionals to be involved with what they are passionate about. If you have a very strong interest in something in your life, you should pursue that interest. And I'm very passionate about my career. I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about mentoring, as I mentioned before, like students and early career professionals. And I want to be a role model. I want to um, try to be the best role model I can be to them. And one of the things that all the things that you described that I do, I don't do them alone. I do them uh, with the students, with postdocs, like all these publications, all these presentations. I encourage my students to attend meetings. I encourage my students to publish papers, also the postdocs. So to me, it's important like to be involved, be if as I mentioned, if you're passionate about something. I'm very also passionate about diversity and inclusion. That's something that I have been working hard in recent years to create a more diverse environment in our society. And I have been chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee for the Entomological Society of America. And as chair, we made some changes that I felt like they were positive changes. And I was very happy to be involved on that. For example, we created a column in um, American Entomologist, one of the ESA, the Entomological Society of America journals that promotes diversity and inclusion. And I was very involved also with the Entomentos. It was a program to help students from diverse backgrounds to join our society and develop mentorship relationships with them. So I was I always enjoy interacting with young students, early career professionals, and yeah, that's one of the reasons that why I continue doing what I'm doing because um, because I enjoy doing that. Um,
Well, I think you are definitely a very inspiring person from all the things that you juggle and like how passionate you are about everything that you do. I think you're definitely a great role model for all the students that you mentor and even for our audience. So you have done and continue to do so much as we've just talked about. So what do you think is next for you?
and that's a very good question, and I'm asking myself like, what's next for me? Because I I started, as I mentioned, in my career in Lima, Peru, and I never like thought I would get to the point where I am. Like uh, this was something that I worked really hard, um, and um, and I tried. I work really hard to get to this point, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. Uh, it's very difficult for an international student to come to the U.S. There's a lot of cultural differences, language differences. I left my family, my friends behind to pursue my career in the U.S. And I went through, I went through different. Uh, I moved from place to place, um, which is not always easy. Um, but um, but I got where I am now, and that's a very good question. Like you always wonder what's next. Like uh, for me, getting my position was a big step in my career. Like um, joining Rutgers was a big step. Then getting tenure was a big step, um, and developing a program that is as successful as it is, to me, was a big step. Now, what's next? As you mentioned, I'm the um, vice president of the PI section. That's the plant insect and ecosystems section for the Entomological Society of America. So uh, this November, after the meeting, I'll become the president. So that's a big role that I'm going to be playing next year as president of one of the sections for ESA. It's intimidating. I have to admit, I'm nervous about it, um, and I'm hoping that I'll do a good job with it. Um, I'm going to continue mentoring students and early career professionals. That's something that I plan to continue to do. And also, I want to learn more. It's I feel like at my age, sometimes you feel like um, um, the you don't feel the need for learning something new, but I feel like there's still like things that I can learn. Like right now, there's a lot of interest in the use of drones, for example, in agriculture. That's something that I would love to like learn um, um, uh, how to use a drone, uh, and that's something that I hope to pursue in the future. So yeah, there's always room for learning something new.
Well, first of all, early congratulations on becoming on your promotion that will be happening in a few more months. And first of all, I just want to say how inspiring your story is, especially leaving Peru, where you probably grew up and lived most of your life, and coming here to the States to expand and advance your career. It must have been something that was hard to do, and it's really inspiring. And I love that you're always like You got to keep on exploring. I think that's the true feat that really says that you're a scientist, because that's something that I know a lot of scientists I've met just love to keep learning and exploring new things. And I like that you're not afraid to explore new things either. So we've definitely explored many areas today. So is there something else that you'd like to share with our audience as they explore STEM and careers in STEM?
Yeah, one of the messages that I would give to the audience is to always follow your dream. I had a dream that I follow. I work hard towards it, and I achieved it. So one thing that is very important is surround yourself with good mentors. Um, look for people that are going to help you achieve those goals. Look for those good mentors. And I see how important it is for other early career professionals having me as a mentor, because I am very dedicated to it, and I have helped a lot um, of early career professionals achieve their goals in their careers. And to me, it's very satisfactory to see the impact that you make in their lives. That's to me very fulfilling, uh, because you always think like, what's the goal of me being here? What's the goal of me doing this? Um, and to know that you're making an impact, to know that you're affecting somebody else's life, like I'm doing now, hopefully, uh, the impact that I make through my work with um, uh, with the growers, and trying to like change uh, some behavior that can lead to something positive. Change the life of an early career professional by providing them with the correct advice, in life. That to me means a lot, and and that's something that you know that I will continue to do, and it's something that, again, you know, follow your dreams, find good mentors, and always have people that are going to give you positive advice, uh, that are not going to put you down and tell you, no, you cannot do this, because you can do it. If I did it, you can do it. So for me, like, my parents were really supportive, and I see, Katie, with your mom. You have that same. I can see my mom and your mom being very similar. My my mom was like always like supportive. Was my number one cheerleader. She wanted to. She would tell all her friends about all my successes, um, and she was always proud. So I always wanted to make her proud. Um, so um, so I always try to like do things that they would also feel proud of. Not just for me, but also for them, because they invested a lot in me. So they are the ones that brought me here. They are the ones that invested in my career, and I always wanted to make sure that they were happy. And also, like, one thing that I feel at this stage in my career is that I want to uh, give back, like pay back on what was given to me. I had a lot of uh, doors that were opened, and I had very, as I said, very good mentorship, parents that were supportive, and I want to do that to other people. I want to give that opportunity to other people that otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity. So I hire students from other places in the world that I always bring students all over the world, to give them that opportunity to advance in their career, um, uh, see what it is like to work here in the U.S., have that experience of seeing something different, learning something new, and they really appreciate it. So that's something that it has been very important to me. And again, to me, like the big message is just you know uh, be passionate about what you do and follow your dreams.
I think that is really amazing advice, and it's advice that can span anywhere within the field of STEM, no matter what field you go into, and even beyond STEM, no matter what kind of career you want to pursue. It's advice that we can all take, and I hope that our audience takes this advice to heart. It's definitely very good advice. So I would like to thank my special guest, Dr. Rodriguez Saona. It was truly an honor speaking with you today, and thank you so much for spending time with us. Also, to our viewers, please join us again for another exciting episode and another remarkable STEM professional. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our network. You have been listening to Profiles in STEM. Thank you. Katie Culbert signing off.